Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Commanding the Market. I'm your host, Nathan, the MTG Librarian, and I am joined by none other than Trent Richardson.
Hey, we're back.
We are back.
We're into spring, I guess, finally.
Kind of ish.
And yeah,
Houston spring.
all the grass is brown, birds are chirping, and another week of some more specs coming.
Yeah. But before we get into those specs, let's talk about a few of some recent specs we had and how they've done. Start off with Dark Deal. I don't know if you all have been paying attention to that, but back in November, we suggested picking this card up when the market price was at $1.34, and it's now at a market price of $3.76, in large part thanks to Tur Grid, God of Fright. Mm-hmm. So no surprise there. And another one, actually, you want to pick this one up that we talked about, which I didn't expect quite this much this quick.
Yeah, so Seven Dwarves, shockingly enough, a couple weeks back, we suggested picking it up. Had a market price of about 52 cents. Now it's $1.82 on the market.
And I remember there was like 80 copies for like a quarter or something at Star City Games at that time.
Yeah, it's like a 300% increase. That's crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah. And this one here actually is one you're a fan of. I'm going to let you talk about that because this is the one you brought up.
Yeah, so Moldovan Trading Post, one that I've been specking on for quite a long time. Actually, every time I see them, I pick them up. Well, I've since quit because you don't see them anymore. But a couple weeks back, you could still pick it up near mint for a little over market price of $3.49. Now you're looking at a market price of $7.72 with a mid of $26.
Wow. And that's reserve list for you there.
Big time.
Now,
so another one.
Well, I want to talk about this next one here because this one was kind of interesting because well, did you have more on Moldovan Trading Post you wanted to say?
No.
Okay.
No, it's a great card.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a great card. It's a great spec.
Yeah. So this next one, I spec'd on last year. I think it was over the summer, and it's also reserve list, and that is Equipoise. Mm-hmm. At the time when I spec'd on it, I was picking them up for under $2, and I decided I was going to sell one last week. I think it was only up for maybe 24 hours, 48 at most, because the market price currently is $22.58, and the mid is right now sitting at close to $30. I went ahead, and there was a total of, at the time, 2 near mint copies for sale, the cheapest of which was like $200 or something like that. And then there was like 5 to 10 light played copies for various prices, all of them in the like teens, I think. Mm-hmm. I went ahead, posted Equipoise at $25 as the only near mint, and it sold. And that listing, I want to point out, actually caused, because there's another person who does the Market Watch, shout out here to Heroes and Legends, who does a weekly kind of market watch on what's moving. And Equipoise hit the needle for them and jumped it to that $25 mark because he only tracks it. It has an active sale, which it did, which was my copy I found interesting enough. And that actually pushed the needle on the market price to where it had been in the teens up to that $22.58, which was kind of interesting to see how that single sale, because there was such a small quantity available out there, was able to directly push the price. Now, I'd considered originally putting it at $49.99, but I felt that's kind of greedy. And I just wanted to go ahead and see if I could push the needle on the market because there were so few copies. So I'm curious, like if I had listed at 50 and it sold at that, if we would now be looking at a market price in the mid 40s or something like that. So I don't know.
Probably so. I mean, we saw just what we could do with, buying. So
yeah, when we push the needle on overwhelming forces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So selling just does the exact same thing, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool to see that live and in action when you have such a small number of stuff on TCG.
Yeah.
So a card that we don't have in the show notes here that I did want to talk about, and I haven't talked about it on the show simply because I started specking on this before the show we started the show, but right around the time we started the show, Second Chance from Urza's Legacy was going for about $5.50 or something like that. And I've been picking them up for about 50 cents a piece.
Wow.
In the garbage bin finds, just tons of them. I mean, I've probably at this point got 15 or 20 or so. But the thing is, I never put it into spec because I'd never thought that it would get any higher than 550 because it's not that great of a card.
It's okay.
I mean, it's fine, you know, but the only reason I was picking them up was because they were going for 550 and I was getting them for 50 cents. So it was pretty just easy.
Yeah.
The other day I picked up 4 more and the market price is now at $15.
Nice.
And the cheapest light play copy you can get on TCG, I think, is $10.50. So we've had basically a double up on it over the last couple weeks. I just kind of wanted to mention that. So if any of you out there have a bunch of second chances sitting in your garbage bin,
you got a second chance to make money on it.
You got a second chance to make money on them. You can pull those bad boys out and see what you can get for them. And you know, I don't know if now's the time to sell even. I mean,
I've started to see some cooling. I say cooling, like the amount that the cards have been going up of late is starting to diminish. Like I think it's starting to peak. So I think selling, if you're planning to sell, again, these are reserved lists. There's nothing saying that another 6 months or a year, they might not have another spike. And most of the time with these reserved list cards, the resistance level after they peak and they come down, the resistance level never comes back down to where it was prior to that right. jump. So from here on up, you know, it's only up basically.
Yeah, for sure.
If you want to make a quick buck, now would be a decent time to sell some. If you're in it for the long game, got the diamond hands, then it's reserve list, sit on it. I sell the occasional reserve list card partly because I want to, for this show, be able to give you all information on how that's selling, how they're moving, that sort of thing. So I'll sell a single copy here or there. In fact, next week I'll talk to everyone about another one, just to have something to talk about then that I sold same day actually as Equipoise, another reserve list card, but a much better reserve list card at that. But let's talk about some of our specs.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll go ahead and open us up here.
All right.
With this first one here, Lotus Cobra, most recently printed in Zendikar Rising. So this card is played in over 18,000 decks with a current TCG market price of $2.33. Actually, I should tell everyone what it does, just in case they're unaware and they can't read the card. So it is a 1 and a colorless, or a 1 and a green, for a creature snake. It's a 2/1 with a landfall trigger. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, add 1 mana of any color. Now, this card's been a staple in EDH since pretty much the dawn of it. And I don't see that changing. And with the current market price of $2.33 with a mid of $3, it is at its lowest it's been in probably 6 or more years at least. Card Kingdom has them in stock for $2.99. Star City Games has them in stock for $3.99. Channel Fireball has them in stock for $3. And you can get TCG Near Mint Bulk for as low as $2.38. Now, I have no illusions about this card. There's a lot of copies out there between the set boosters, the draft boosters, and the collector boosters. There's a lot of Lotus Cobras running around out there. However, this card is good, and I don't expect we're going to see it get another reprint outside of possibly in a Commander product anytime in the near future. I think they're trying to let this regrow its value before it would see another reprint. It's held its current market price where it's at right now for the last 4 weeks. So I think we have hit its bottom as a card. So essentially, if you just want them for playing, because you want to have them in your mini myriad decks that run green and lands, which is probably a lot of your decks, then now is the time to pull the trigger and pick those up. And if you look at them for spec, expect you will have to sit on these for a little while. But I do think they are worth picking up at that price and sitting on them.
Yeah, I would agree. Totally agree.
I mean, this card prior to reprint was like $18, I believe. So
yeah, it was close to 20 for sure. And I mean, it was crashed hard because I mean, it's not only just printed in its standard version of the card, it's also printed in an alternate art, and then it's printed in a full art. So plus foils. I mean, there's a lot of copies right now. Yeah. And honestly, I've got more alternate art Lotus Cobras than regular art Lotus Cobras at this point.
A mention on that, actually. I didn't have it in the listings. I was going to talk about it probably next week. But because we're on it, I'll at least give a mention. Alternate art cards. I am seeing the tendency for many of the alt art cards to be worth less than the standard version of the card. For example, another card a while back we told everyone to spec into was Garrick's Uprising. At the time, it was like 65 cents or something like that. It's now sitting around $2.30 or something like that last I checked. Maybe $3. It's jumped quite a bit. However, the standard printing of it is worth more than the alternate slash full art. Well, it's not really full art, but alternate art, borderless, not borderless, but expanded art version. Yeah. It's not so much alternate art, which I found interesting. I think that I think that says something to the number of not just collector boosters, but because those alternate style art or border were available in the base set as well. I think it means they're actually slightly less rare than the normal, quote unquote, normal bordered card. So I found that kind of interesting. But either way, that card from where it was when we talked about it has just been going up.
For sure.
We're going to stick with this Zendikar here?
Yeah, I think we'll just stick with Zendikar forever because Zendikar is the new... what was the fairy tale set?
Throne of Eldraine?
Throne.
Yeah.
Zendikar is the new Throne of Eldraine, ladies and gentlemen. There's tons of good stuff in here.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna. I'll just want to throw this out. I may get some hate for it. You can comment and hate on me in the comments if you want. I'm not a huge fan of Kaldheim. I'm a little disappointed.
I feel exactly the same. Kaldheim is extremely underwhelming. Now, I'm a drafter. I love to draft. That's my favorite format. It is one of the better draft formats because there's just so much going on. You can play. You're kind of incentivized to play 3 or 4 color a lot of times.
Well, those lands. Well, I mean, most sets have those, tap dual lands, but.
Yeah, but I mean, because there's so few top tier cards in each color, you're kind of incentivized to play 3, 4 colors.
So you're saying it's more of a pauper than a Prince draft format?
Yeah, but you definitely, your rares matter big time, but yeah, for Commander, for Standard, for Modern, I mean, it really blows.
Yeah. And that's not to say there aren't some good cards in there. There certainly are, but on the whole, I was underwhelmed by the set. Like typically there's a common or uncommon that jumps out at me and says, pick this up in bulk. Nothing jumped out at me really heavily in this set as far as that goes. In fact, I think probably the best common / uncommon you could pick up are the tap snow dual lands. They're probably the best pickup for long term because they're not even just, they're fetchable duels essentially. They're force tapped, but they can go in any deck where you can fetch and don't mind it coming in tap, which makes it better than most of the lands that enter the battlefield tapped.
Yeah, it says something about a format when you have the top three cards to draft on average are all commons. um,
Yeah.
it doesn't bode well for the rare and mythic slots. Now, of course, there's some rares you slam and some mythics you slam, but for the most part, you find yourself first picking either Cyril's Packmate, Glimpse into the multiverse, or Behold the Multiverse and Glimpse something, or no, that's an uncommon actually.
Yeah.
Glimpse is an uncommon, but or Demon Bolt is a common.
Yeah.
But yeah, out of those are probably most commonly the four best cards in draft for that format, which is kind of sad.
Well, tell us about this next one we're going way back to the set previous Zendikar Rising.
Way back. So I've been specking on this for a while now, just because, well, one, it's a MDFC.
Oh, yeah, we love those.
Two, it's a wheel effect. So, Valik Awakening for 2 and a red. It's a instant. Put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your library, then draw that many cards +1. And then obviously it's on the back side, it's a tapped red source. So TCG Market has it for $3.75 with a mid of $3.91. You can pick these up at Card Kingdom for about $5.49. Star City Games still has them for $3.99. Channel Fireball, $5.50, and you can get them as low as $3.29 on TCG Near Mint Bulk. In the past 3 months, and I was getting these for about $1 a piece. I mean, they are not expensive, but in the past 3 months, it's jumped about $1.30. So it's a double up, and like many of the MDFCs, this card is highly playable in EDH.
Oh, yeah.
And, you got to pick them up for the MDFC value on it too. But they will get too expensive, all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, even the commons and uncommons.
There's a few commons I don't know that we'll get there because I don't think they're quite good enough for EDH. But who knows? Because in other formats, they may go up anyway because other formats may play them and, oops all spells or something like that.
Yeah. And already, I mean, it's being played in 6,700 decks.
Which is a lot for a set that came out 4 months ago? 5 months ago? Where are we? When was that? October?
Yeah. It's about October, yeah. So 5 months.
Almost 5 months.
Yeah. That's pretty impressive. 1,000 decks a month are being built.
More than,
with that card in it. So pretty good.
Yeah. Those MDFCs, you know what they kind of remind me of? They make me think of the Rivals block double face cards. That's what they make me think of. And you know how we talked about get those cards? They're so good. And I think part of what turned me off to a degree on Call Time was I realized that the modal dual face cards in that set are not as playable in EDH as the ones from Zendikar Rising because you're always running lands. It's always a playable card. And that's not to say I don't like the modal DFCs in Call Time. I just don't feel they're quite as universal as the ones from Zendikar Rising.
Yeah, well, the fact that they're not lands on the back is one big, thing against it. But the second thing is, I mean, you're only really running them as your commander for the most part. Yeah. I mean, most of them are legendary creatures. So, and we know that the commander slot is usually not something to spec on unless it's one of like 3 cards out there,
Yeah. Now, I do want to go on the record saying this, and I figure most people already figured this out. I called it earlier, back before Call Time came out, when we knew Strixhaven was going to be wizard-based, that they would have instants and sorcery MDFCs. So I think we might actually get to the point with Strixhaven that we're going to have in the command zone sorceries and instants, or sorcery/instant. So that could be neat, but again, I don't know that it's going to be any more overwhelming or underwhelming than Kaldheim as far as our format's concerned. Who knows?
Well, the fact, though, is that the backside of a lot of these MDFCs from Kaldheim, they're just kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, I think the one on Bergie is probably the best. The horn,
but probably the best.
But she's so good on the front, you're never going to play the back.
Yeah, and Tur Grid is decent on the back,
but again,
you're never going to play it.
No, a lot of them are really better designed for formats with the 4-ofs, not 1-ofs, not singleton.
Yeah, for sure. So,
well,
we shall see.
This next one, I've been wanting to spec on for a little bit. I've thought about talking about it on the show quite a few times, but I wanted to see where the price would move, see how low it would go. And it has hit its low. It started jumping again. And the card I'm talking about is Scoot Swarm. It is played in over 6,500 decks currently and is also from Zendikar Rising. So much like Valik Awakening, it's already seen a ton of play in EDH. Now, it is a 1/1 insect for 2 and a green with landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. If you control 6 or more lands, create a token that's a copy of Scoot Swarm instead. It's almost a meme at this point with people going how many hundreds of thousands or whatever Scoot Swarms they made in a game.
Yeah.
At 3 mana, this kind of takes the slot that Avenger of Zendikar typically filled. That win con that's on a card, it's a creature that'll work with your landfall to be a win con. In a way, this does it, and it does it sooner because it's less mana. Now, granted, you still have to get to that 6, but that's kind of the idea. You're going to play this, then you're going to ramp, then you're going to win. And ramping is something green likes to do. In fact, I've yet to meet a green deck that doesn't like to ramp, so this seems like an easy include in most green decks that are looking for a win con. That's a pretty good one. And right now, at a market price of $2.33 and a mid of $3, nice spread there. This is a very affordable win con. Card Kingdom's got them in stock at $3.99. Star City Games in stock at $2.99, and Channel Fireball in stock at $4. So once again, just like Valik Awakening, we see Card Kingdom and Channel Fireball are a good dollar above Star City Games and the mid. Now TCG Near Mint Bulk you can pick up as low as $2.49. So this card in the past 6 weeks has jumped up about 50 cents. So not a big jump. It's just been a kind of slow, steady climb. But that's why I was like, okay, it's on the move up, and it's the kind of move that it's just going to keep ticking up. It's already past its bottom. Whereas Lotus Cobra is sitting at its bottom and has for 4 weeks now. Scoot Swarm's already on the move up. So if you're looking at maybe green cards to invest in, at this point, I would first consider Scoot Swarm. Secondarily, Lotus Cobra.
And we don't talk about this a lot on this show, but this set, as well as Throne of Eldraine, before they go out of print, I would pick up some booster boxes to sit on, because these two sets have tons of EDH staples, legacy staples, vintage staples,
and not to mention the booster boxes from Zendikar Rising have a potential to have that box topper of a fetch land. So
exactly.
Yeah, I really like. I'm already sitting on a box of Throne, but I'm definitely going to get at least one box as Zendikar Rising to sit on. That and the Commander Legends box. I'm going to sit on those. I'm not going to sit on a box of Kaldheim. Now, I'm not going to say that it's not going to go up over time. I just don't think the return on it is going to be anywhere as near what it is with CNR or Commander Legends.
Honestly, with Kaldheim, I think I can count on my one hand the number of cards that I think are worth holding on to and keeping.
Yeah.
The only problem is you're going to have to pay for them because they're already expensive.
Your Vorinclex, your Tur Grid is already getting up there. Asikia, I think is her name. The 5-color enchantment on the back. I had one in my head and I just forgot it. World Tree, I think maybe.
Potentially. I think you could get a playset of every card that is not in the top the top 5 cards in the set are all about $10 to $15, with the exception of Vorinclex being about like what
40.
Is it?
He's almost 50, he's almost 40. I mean, now he's like 38.
Yeah.
Orvar I think is good, but I think he's not going to long term be a super, because he's a build around. So he's not necessarily. Whereas Tur Grid I think is really good because you can build around her. It's awesome. You can throw her in the 99 of any Aristocrats deck. She's awesome.
Yeah, you could buy a playset of almost every other rare and mythic in this set for the price of a booster box in Call. Wow. I mean,
they nuked Valky Tybalt's value when they changed the rule with Cascade. So
yeah,
so his value, I don't know where it's at now, but I'm sure it's going to keep plummeting.
And Tybalt's Trickery, same thing.
Yeah, because that got banned. And what was it, Modern? Yeah. Maybe
not a playset, but like maybe 1 or 2 of every other rare mythic you could probably get for under $100. With the exception of like top 5, I think.
Yeah.
So that's probably what I would do with that. But yeah, definitely Zendikar Rising. Definitely hoard some boxes of that if you can. And Throne of Eldraine, hold on to those too, because just good stuff going on there. So another thing we don't have on the show notes, I kind of wanted to go over a little bit, is the Guilds of Ravnica and Ravnica Allegiance. So
dual land specific.
It just went out of print, and they've rotated. And we're starting to see a tick up on Shocklands.
Wait, Shocklands?
Yeah.
Do those get played much?
They get played all the time.
What?
So
I had no idea.
Shocklands have been, basically since those 2 sets have been in print, have been, I mean, you could get them, I mean, the cheapest you could get them, have been able to get them in a very, very long time.
Yeah. Which back then I picked up a bunch.
First. And I've been picking them up a bunch too. But if you haven't, I think the time is now.
Yeah, they're not going to go down. They're not going down.
To pull the trigger now. They're not going to go up. I mean, they're not going to go down anytime soon. They're not going to be reprinted anytime soon, I don't think.
Until we get back to Ravnica again. And they haven't shown a desire to throw lands that good in the precons. They just don't. They did put them in the Commander, a couple of them in the, what were those? The Challenger decks. But even that didn't long affect the price. And
well, no, because there's only one. You know,
was it just the one? Oh yeah, was it Steam Vents? Was it the red blue?
I don't remember. There's like 4 different decks.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure all 4 of them had shocks, but whatever. Regardless, they've rotated out. They're not going to have challenge decks with those. If they even do challenge decks again, I have no idea if they plan on it.
Just kind of as like a point of reference here, I'm looking at Guilds of Ravnica right now. So the most expensive duel currently, and this is kind of odd, Sacred Foundry.
Wow.
As low as $11.34 market price at $12.50 on TCG.
You said that's the most or the least expensive?
The most expensive.
Oh, wow. They're still in the affordable range. If that one's the most expensive. Now, Breeding Pool, I imagine, is probably closer to the $20 mark from.
Yeah, I'm going to move over to that here in just a second. Now, Overgrown Tomb, you can pick them up for as low as $8.79. Market is $10.39. And just notice the difference in the mid and the
market,
low as and market price here.
Yeah.
Temple Garden as low as $8, market $10.26. Steam Vents pretty even at $9.54 and $9.94. And then Watery Grave, you can get them as low as $5.71.
What? That's
$5.71.
Insane. That's insane. Okay, yeah.
And a market price at $9.78.
Yeah, that's pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea they were that low. I'll be honest. I haven't been paying attention to the shocks.
Yeah, so the next we'll look at Allegiance here. 1 second to pull it up real quick. And of course, Smothering Tithe is the best card in the set at almost $30.
Which I picked all mine up at the $3 mark when they first came out, and people were like, "Yeah, it's a white card. Yeah, it's a good white card."
Breeding Pool is the most expensive of the shocks at as low as $17.45, market price of $19.29, and then Blood Crypt at $14.99. You can get them as low as $14.99. Market price is $16.33. Godless Shrine, you can get them as low as $7.89. Market $8.28. Stomping Grounds as low as $7.64. Market $8.15. And there's one more here. Hollowed Fountain. You can pick them up as low as $6.01.
Wow.
Market $7.17. So, with the exception of Breeding Pool and Blood Crypt, they're all extremely affordable right now.
Yeah.
And they will not be for very much longer. So, my advice, you're going to play with them.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to use them in every single deck that you build.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and grow them. Why not?
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's my spiel on Shocklands.
All right. Well, we're going to keep it to a shorter episode this time. Give you a kind of condensed, more as much or close to as much content, but in a less time frame, hopefully. Or we could talk for the next half hour about whatever, and y'all could just click off and go on your way. But before you do that, take a moment. If you enjoyed what we're talking about today, if you want to see more, if you have suggestions for us, be sure to leave a comment below, and don't forget to hit like. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can share it with your mommies, your daddies, your sisters, your brothers, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, your nephews, your nieces, your dog Spot, your cat Pebbles, and your girlfriend who doesn't really give a shit about Magic, but she loves you, so right. She'll watch it.
She'll watch it. That's right. Well, everyone, may your card draw be plentiful and your mana never screwed.
Until next time, guys, keep commanding the market.
Peace.